Now we are going to be primarily working in layers, and the layers tab is right here. And we'll be working in the properties option. So the properties option is where you'll find your paintbrush. Below the 3D and 2D views, you'll find your shelf. Okay, and in your shelf, you're going to find all of your procedural textures and shaders and brushes and particle effects and all sorts of other, your grunge maps, environments to change your lighting, different brushes. So it's a lot of really, really cool, wonderful things that will make your models look really great on your shelf. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is your brush. So here we have a brush, and let's go paint, yes. And if I go like this, we see that the brush is just a simple white brush here. And I have this on a layer. This is a layer that was pre-made. By the way, if you don't want to have to see your UVs, what you can do is you can change your view. So right now I have 3D and 2D view. And here's the cool thing about all of the options in Substance. When the tooltips pop up, or when there's options, you'll see the keyboard shortcuts. So right now we're in 3D and 2D view, and we can see that F1 is a shortcut for that. 3D view, that's F2, and F3 is 2D view. And if we wanted to go back to 3D view, it's F2, and F1, we go back to our default view. Another cool thing is we can look at our maps individually in our 3D view. So let me go back to 3D view, and let's move this down. So if we hit C, we can scroll through all of our maps. And it tells you what that map is if you look up here in the upper right hand corner. So I'm just scrolling through. This is my normal map. I only really have one map right now. And if we hit M, M takes us back. M stands for material, so that just takes us back to the default material. All right, so let's go back here so we can show you. So I'm in the brush tool right now, and I'm just in kind of the default brush. So I can paint like that. I can change the color of my brush. So if I scroll down here, I can change it to say red. And as you can see, it's a red brush. I can pick a different brush. So this is crystal, right? So if we go back to the basic brush, this is the basic hard brush. There's a soft brush. We can change the size, right? Up here on the top are the attributes for the brush. We can change the flow. And if you have it at like a tablet, you're using a Wacom tablet or a Cintiq or something like that, depending on how hard you pushed on your tablet would mean the flow would change. So it would be like how thick or thin the brush comes out with your flow. This would be stroke opacity. So as you can see, it gets more transparent. We can also play with spacing. Isn't that cool? All right. Okay, so we have all of those fun options, and all of those options are up here as well under the brush attributes. So, you know, we can play with the stroke opacity here, we can play with the spacing here, you can play with the size here, and the minimum size percentage, all sorts of great things. Size jitter, so you see here, this adds a bit of a jitter to your brush, which is pretty cool. There's a flow jitter, there's an angle jitter, position, alignment. All right, so let's take it into here. So I'm going to actually uncheck all of these. So here is our color map, and so we're only affecting color. Let's make my brush a little bit bigger. Oh yeah, I forgot. B also takes you through all your maps too. So let's make my brush a little bit bigger. All right, so that is just the color. But let's go to the height map. So when we go to the height map, everything is, right now the height is at 0. Now if we go to the right here with our height map, as you can see, when we use our brush, we get something that's raised from off the surface in terms of height. And when we put it in the negative, it's going to be concave. So it's convex and concave, depending on whether you're in the positive values or negative. If I put it back to 0, it's as if it does nothing. All right, let's go to roughness. So roughness refers to how shiny an object is. So if you have a chrome ball, then the roughness of that object is, well, it doesn't have any roughness, right? It's like a 0. If you raise up the roughness, it might look more like a brushed metal, eventually maybe like a plastic, and then maybe wood if the roughness was really high. So this is not shiny right now, but we could make it shiny and reflective if we used a fill. So up here in my layers, I'm going to create a new layer. It's a fill layer. And this is gray. And let's make it a shiny red. Excuse me. Let's go back to this. And I'm now, if I unclick color, it doesn't affect anything again, right? So let's just play with roughness and color. So right now my roughness is 0.3. If I bring it down to 0, you will see that it is very shiny and highly reflective. Mirror-like, like chrome. The higher the roughness, the more matte the finish. So now it is not reflective at all. So if I bring my roughness to say like 0.5, there's still a little bit of gloss, right? It's kind of looking plasticky. And then the higher the roughness, like right now, it's looking kind of like plastic. It's like 0.2. And if we bring up a little higher, now it's looking more metallic, right? So that's what the roughness does. And you can have a lot of fun with your roughness maps. Okay, metal. So metal is the specularity. So with my roughness, it's kind of looking a little plasticky. But we can make it look a little bit more metal by raising up, playing with the specularity of this a bit. And now it looks a little less plasticky and a little bit more like metal. So we up the metallic. This is putting this metallic down, back to plastic, putting it up. The higher it goes towards white, the more metallic it is. And now it definitely looks like metal. All right. We already saw what a normal map can do, and we already saw what a height map can do.